Yo. Hey, yo. Not even Nightbot's awake yet. Damn. I got a gift of a tank I already have. That's beautiful. Right, let's see if I do get some compensation for that. Minigame adventure has begun. It's a website minigame. Okay. Well, wargaming, you probably wouldn't want to do that, this obviously, but anyway. It's a turbo. Hi, just how you doing? They used to do this a very long time ago for Christmas events, if I remember right. Like this mini-map event mode on the wargaming, like on the website. So, yeah. I don't remember. I mean, I don't, but I don't remember when the last time wargaming did something truly original, not just a thing they copied from another thing. Let's see. Start off with a birthday tank. Alright, Alex from the space. How you doing? Let's check out the shop though, if there's anything worth in here. Because I used to do weekly shop reviews, but now I don't. You can buy these now for 20,000 tokens. Okay. Lorraine's okay. Well, this is good. You know, this is good. How about that? 7.5k for a very good tier 8 heavy tank. Something decent in here. Even 12.5k is not that bad. I mean, even though it's a Type 59, you know, which is like a value of 2. But would you look at that? Wargaming selling something decent. As in. Not good Russian accuracy. I mean, have the Russians ever produced anything actually good, or have the majority of things always just been, yeah, it's a fine, comrade. If you break, we repair. Hey, Gold. Still here, not to suffer. Absolutely. I'm trying to not suffer, but we're starting with the T-54 on Old Malinovka in a tier 10 match, so against the TVP, against 2 TVPs that are platooned. So I'm gonna die, probably. Unless they're awful. But yeah. It is kind of funny that the majority of players are always level 1. Even though wargaming is like, hey, yeah, we're doing well with the system and we're happy with how the system was implemented, so 50B loves you. We'll see about that. I still remember a time when the 50B was interesting. Oh, hello there. What are you doing out here? I think he's gonna... That... Oh. Okay. Alright. Well, I mean, that is a position that everybody aims at. And that was the Yule then. So... attack. There's a problem that these guys have now is that the TVP is over there. Right, so if they push through the middle, the TVP is just going to crossfire them. Emotional roller coaster of armor. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it, really. Again, that is a very risky position. So, you know. Ouch, that object has got 1,200. Where did that come from? Oh. I know where that came from. But I don't even know what that is. What the hell is a BZT-70? So... I know I probably have it on my account to test it, but I don't know what it is. Because you can't leak information you don't have. Alright. Those out there. Gotta be careful because those guys can push here. Right, and they only have the MX here, so this is gonna be 300 meters. Can't get spotted. But yeah, how y'all doing? How y'all doing on this insanely hot Tuesday. Alright. There it is. I'm trying to support the AMX. He's not doing too well right now. And he screwed it. That's great. Okay. Well, that ain't worth buying. Not that any tank wargaming releases is ever worth buying, but that's another story. Ew. That's the big problem now. That TVP is alive. And while the TVP is not as good as anymore as it used to be, it is still incredibly dangerous in a end battle situation like this. So it's basically down to the AMX to hang in this, because obviously that object, he's dead. Like, he's gonna have a TVP in his bum in about 20 seconds, and he's screwed. It's very important knowledge in Blitz to know when to help and when not to help. Right? Because if I would jump down there, like, I'm dead. You know? He's already dead. There's nothing I can do, or the MX can do, really, to get that guy out of there. Uh-oh. Oh, there's the armor again. What I wanted to find originally is the WZ, because not only is he clanless, he's also a one-shot. Ugh. How the hell did that go? Yeah, he's out of shots now. So I have about 20 seconds to disappear. Which is gonna expire just about now. Uh-oh. 23 bit is heavy. Yeah. Well, there he is. There he is. Big problem is that he's gonna be in a crossfire because he's pushing into them. Right, what you want to do here is take space, and I can't fire, really, I can't do anything here. Right, this is how you don't play a situation like this, by rushing in. Right, how you play it is like this, like picking off the targets one by one. Because now, he's gonna shoot him. If he moves forward now, I can kill him, but he already wasted all of his hit points on that meaningless engagement. So, yeah. I mean, I could... If I can hit the TVP now, before he goes unspotted. They're both one-shots. But they know where I am. So I'm gonna drive this way. And there's 1 minute left. I'm gonna drive this way and I'm gonna turn around. The problem is that the yaw can't really catch me, but the TVP can. So if I was the TVP, he's gonna like move somewhere here. And he can shoot me in the back. They can't cap this, of course. So I'm gonna have to try and see. There he is. I hope I'm not spotted. I'm not. This is a bit risky, but I'm gonna go for it. There we go. Damn, that was quick. He was in the right spot at the right time. Good for him. So. And that is how you still do quite a lot of damage on 21 hit points. This guy hard carried, so congrats. No, Wargaming, I don't want to buy your crappy containers. No. I spent enough money on you. However, what I haven't done is do tank requests, so... Let's go. What's your requesting? Hi, Bears. Alright. I would rather slide over a cheese grater butt naked than ever buy something from Wargaming again. And if you say, oh, we can arrange that, no, you can't. Alright. Try telling your teammates to fall back, works sometimes. MX should have stayed put. Of course, if you're in a situation like that, you want to have as much space as possible, and you never want to give the enemy the ability to surround you. Right? That's like the most primary thing to not suck at Blitz, and it's to not fight multiple people at the same time. Like, you're not John Wick. This is World of Tanks Blitz, and you want to have one tank that you're battling, and that's it. And ideally, you also only want one tank able to shoot at you. The MX does have a good pull-out game. Well, he did not. So, remember, vasectomy is cheaper than 18 years of child support. E6, AMX, 50B. Did I miss something? Nope. Alright, one more tank can be requested. The 11-3, which I called that because it upsets people for no reason at all. Alright. I think at some point, I'm gonna just start sandbagging STG games to get them out of the way. Which is a bit unfair towards the teammates, but I'll just not sandbag enough to actually ruin the battle. You won't get a vasectomy. Well, sure damn will. Alright. Come on. Let me do some damage, then I can die, and we can play some real tanks. You know what? Here's a grand display of why you should never fight multiple tanks at the same time. That's 4. Right? Do you see the problem with this? Do you see the problem? Why you should never fight multiple tanks at the same time? Right? Because in the majority of tanks, you have... I mean, you have some armor, and you only have one gun that you can point in one direction. If you got guys all around you, right? You can't point your armor anywhere, because they're everywhere. So don't do that. QED, as they say. QED, as they say. I mean, the whole, like, always request the SDG thing, it was funny, like, a year ago, but now it's just pissing me off. So, I'll do my best to sandbag those requests. Alright. Let's see. We got a level 50 53 TP. Alright. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna poke about it. Y'all killed a Canadian. That speaks for itself. See, here's the thing. The T-26E4 is one of those tanks where if you bought it 10 years ago, it made sense because it made a lot of credits and was really good to rank up and all that kind of stuff. But now, it's a little bit sad. It's a little bit sad. Adding Swedish voice acting. 17 years. You have like this, like a board in your house where you like count the days. Alright. Uh-oh. $53 TP needs a nerf. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Alright. The object's pretty dead, but if he pushes forward, which he does, I can pump all three into him, and he somehow doesn't reverse. Why don't you reverse, man? I can also out-reload him, so I don't know why he's... No! Like, I'm staring at you, bruv. Don't do that. Hey friends, you can't say organic eggs if there are gems with too much unorganics in their feed on the... Yeah. There's microplastics in your balls. Remember that. Next time. Alright, and also remember that you don't actually own any of the tanks that you have on your account in Blitz. Wargaming could, by the terms of service that we all accepted, at any time, terminate the contract. Because it's not property, it's licensed. Remember that. Let's go! 3 mediums, we have 2. Okay. See, there's this thing in Blitz where the easy shots miss, but the really weird shots hit. It's one of those situations. I mean, there used to be a CSGO player, Draken, who basically missed the easy shots. Like, every time he, like, took an easy static shot, he missed. But when it was, like, an insane flick, boom, it worked. So that's Blitz sometimes, even though you can't really flick in Blitz because you have this thing called turret speed. So it doesn't work that well. TF42 needs to be nerfed. Well, are they gonna do that though? So if you're... You know, one thing about corporations is that they don't give a shit about you, they only give a shit about your money. And ways to acquire that money. Sorry. You know? Because if you're pissed, you're not gonna give them your money. So you're gonna be like semi-happy. Oh, Oscar. Current opinion only 907. Pointless. Yeah. It's one of those vehicles. It's like the 121B where they're not necessarily bad, but there's not really any point in having them because if you need the credits you're better off making credits at tier 8 for the most part, because that's where you earn more credits. And if you want a vehicle that performs similar or better, you can just research an E50M or a 62A, and you'll have a better gameplay experience. Alright, well, I mean, you can clip me, I don't care. So... he's red, that means he's communist, so I'll share my hit points with him. Hi Marky, how you doing? 60 TP is pointless, even 100 is better. Not really. They're pretty different in terms of their look and the positions you can play. The 60 TP is a really good beginner tank. Still. You know, but... if we have a look at the... I mean, the T95A6, it got buffed. It used to be kind of shite unless you were a really good player knowing how to handle it. But they buffed the cupola, so now it's pretty damn good. I also, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet, I made a community post asking what the current top 5 tier 10s are, because I'm too lazy to find out, and I love outsourcing, so... tell me in that community post what your top 5 tier 10s are, and yeah, I'll eventually get around to making a video. So, there is 25 vehicles, that I can't talk about. But, what is worth it from these? Well, the T95E6, the Concept 1B, the KPZ50T, the VK90, if you like that rear-turreted style, the 777, if you like the 113, and no other way, right? If you haven't played the 113, if you don't know anything about the 113, don't get this vehicle. You know, Super Conqueror and Chieftain, then this weird limbo state where they're okay, but if they're cheap, get them. But, I mean, the Super Conqueror is like, you can get the Concept 1B, which does the thing the Super Conqueror does, just a little bit better. So it makes a lot more sense to get that. The Badger is probably the better tank destroyer to have than... no. The 30B, yeah, I mean, you can get the KPZ50T. It'll do the most things the MX-30B does better. It doesn't have a cupola. Wargaming, fuck off with your annoying offers. The MLA-54, I mean, it's a fat Super Conqueror, pretty much. I mean, it's a Super Conqueror that had way too many croissants and therefore has more alpha damage and is gigantic, which doesn't make it good. The Karo and the Lion are both knockoff Progettos that, I mean, you don't need. And the STVK is... get the T95E6. That's the state of tier 10 collectors. What's that? I have been pinged on Discord. Alright. Got the E6 for mystery set 2 days ago. Got mystery boxes from free lottery balls. Nice. Nice. We need more balls. Need more balls. Alright. Question is, what kind of balls do we need? Say the kind of balls that avoid running into a 183. Which is good, because it's a level 50 183. That is also clanless. Right? That is a level of... it's like a... I don't know. How would you describe a level 50 clanless 183 player? Alright. Wow. I don't know if this thing's still good. I don't know if that thing's still good because I don't care about tank destroyers, but that thing was pretty good. There was no on the Type 71 because the Type 71 is a crappy E5 in its current state. So it's like Hey, do you want a longer, slower, worse E5? Type 71. I know the tank destroyer is over there. No, I won't bother. Well, I will bother, actually. Goodbye. Or might as well be married to 183. Well, if you have a level 50 183, then how high are your chances of actually getting married? I don't know. Let's see. I think having a level 50 and a 183 is a bigger red flag than being a financial advisor. Alright. Just gonna run around. I gotta be mindful of that 215B. There's a big schmack. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why did he repair so late? Oh, well, anyway. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep that short. Actually, I don't have to. Do I? No, I'm gonna try and keep it and see if the Progetto fails against the E100. No, it doesn't now. Reload. Because that means... Hi, Timo. How you doing? I can now disappear. Got enough hit points. I'm talking about like those kind of bank matters that sell 30 years savings accounts to 90-year-olds. That's real. Alright. Let's see. This is not good. Way too many hit points on them. And they're playing together, which is a terrible thing. And that's also not great. Come on, Progetto. Good boy. I'm gonna use the Kronwagen as leverage. There we go. Now we did a pretty good job. Now, Progetto, do not do what you're about to do. Don't do it, Progetto. Don't do it. Why am I on 6,000? Oh, God. He did what I thought he was gonna do. Okay, I might have 1,200 hit points. Unless he ammo racks me, he's got no chance. So I'm gonna drive past. Never take the direct approach, ever. In a situation like this. Never face straight at them. You know, that's like the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing you can do, is to go straight at them. Right, always to go around them and attack them from behind. But don't take too long, because then they might think about it. $6,029, and that's an ace in the 50B. Like, I have so many battles that I saved the replays, but they're never recorded and made into videos. Alright, because I got nothing to say. It's always the same thing. That's my problem with Blitz. Like, I got... what can I say that I haven't said already about Blitz? Right? Like... Alright. No. Gotta get through there. Why is the... Question. We have an M60. They don't. Why is he on the bad side? Like... He could take all this space right here, and with me being here, could attack them from the back and open a second front, right? Because if you learn anything from World War II, it's great to have two fronts, but it's awful to have to fight two fronts. Or 3 or 4, or everyone, really. I mean, generally don't start wars ever, but you don't want to be the one that has to fight multiple sides at the same time. And you don't also want to be the one that's an AMX-50-120 going up against actual heavy tanks that have this thing called armor that you don't have. So... the chill tank. Yeah, I think this is one of the things where, like, you can just chill in this tank. Congrats, guys. You suck. So... and the grill dies in the middle of the frickin' field, and the Kranwagen is on flat ground, despite there being hills out here. What are you doing? Alright. I mean, the grill was back there, where the WT was. And now, he just died in the middle because, I don't know, he was trying to throw the game. I genuinely don't know why he did that, but... yeah. That is, I think, the biggest ass team I've had this week. Obviously, today is the first time playing Blitz this week, but... gee, lads. Oh. So the M60 is platooned with the 5120. I'm not very curious to see how good they are, on average. I did terrible, but what can you do? It is supposed to be a good... no, it's not. Well, not as bad as I expected, but still... poo. What is this? Fancy graphics, fancy graphics. How much do I have to pay? 3,000. It's a tier 8. I almost thought Wargaming now has decent pricing, but it's a tier 8. 3.5k for a tier 8 camo. Jesus. Maybe Wargaming, here's an idea. Maybe you don't waste all your budget on funky little marketing films, then you can actually offer these bundles for a price that makes them worth it, you know? Alright. Don't forget to hydrate, as always. It's hot outside. Hold on, let me see. Still, it's 27 degrees outside still. Help. It's not good. That is not good, guys. That is not good. Okay. And a 7. Yee. 50M. Alright. Leo 1. Alright. I claim that, yes I can. Wow, I just spent 10 tokens to get 1 token. That's worth it. I love math. What's in here? Okay, so you lose. You can lose or you can lose. 0.2%. Jesus. Jesus breakdancing Christ. What is HV shrooms on its throat? What do you mean? Up to 38 degrees outside. Yeah, I mean, it ain't supposed to be this way. But hey, I mean, I read a study this week that said, oh, our climate predictions were wrong again. It's even worse than we thought. So, we're gonna have a bad time. We're gonna have a bad time. Right? I mean, Politicians are fighting over which flags to ban. And we're all burning up. Yeah. Now. Dude. E50. It's only 32. In Rome, okay. I've never been to Rome. I've been to Italy about... Wait, I've been to Italy in May. And before that, it's been 8 or 9 times. But that was all before the plague. So... Never been to Rome, though. No, Rome's not in Italy, because in Italy there's Italians, but in Rome there's Romans. It's different. Yeah. I wouldn't know what to do in Rome, to be honest. Hey look, fancy old building. Hey look, fancy old building. Hey look, fancy new building. So, I don't know. I mean, the main point of the Mediterranean is to return 10 pounds heavier than you left. Alright. In Rome. Yep. And don't burn it down. Again. Alright. Though some countries have their own Nero now. But at least Nero could play a musical instrument. He's not a hero. I know. That's what I mean. But hey, at least he could play a musical instrument. That's like the only redeeming factor, you know, because some people burn entire countries down and they can't even play the recorder. That's a shame. Alright. Let's go Pompeii. Yeah. Hey, let's look at corpses. I think that I'm gonna be a corpse very soon as well. Don't talk about the singer or whatever he is. So... Ugh. God damn, I died. What's going on in... What is going on my Discord server? Damn. E50. The E stands for good. All right. Two mediums, they got an E50M and an M60. I think the M60 in its form is one of the most pointless tanks in the entire game because it's not even a premium, like it's a premium tank, but it's not a real premium tank. So it doesn't actually make credits. So it's also not different to the M48 pattern at all. I mean, it's like minorly different, but It's so minorly different that a certain Blitz YouTuber would think about it. If you catch my drift. But there's like no actual point to spend money on a copy of the M48 pattern that also doesn't make crits, because the pattern, I haven't checked the current numbers, but the pattern used to be the worst tank in the entire game when it comes to credit coefficient. That's serious. It was like 82% or something like that. It's the worst credit coefficient in the game. Alright. Hi Siri, hi at least Tom, how you doing? Welcome. What do you think about T-22 medium? It's sort of like in the same position as the Object 907, a little bit less, but it suffers from the 62A being really good, and things like the E50M existing. It's like, if you really love the 62A, and you don't mind a slight downgrade, then I'd probably go for the T-22. It's sort of like that the 907 is the premium version of the 140, and the T-22 is the premium version of the 62A, and the 62A is a currently better vehicle, like much better vehicle. So the T-22 makes a lot more sense to get than... Yeah, no, I can't take that. Where's the fourth guy? Where's the fourth guy? Oh, there he is. I'm gonna move through, and I'm gonna switch sides. Gonna do a Italian move here, and then pass through entirely. Because now that concept is entirely cut off. He's trying to chase me, but while... Oh, actually, he's actually not chasing me. While he's doing that, I can attack this guy from the back, and now I'm behind the concept as well. Over there, he's going to move forward. And now I can attack the concept from the side again, and I can kill him with my excellent front armor, because I'm good at ramming into people. And now that's 5.7k damage. Yahoo! Yahoo! And that's ace number 2 in 42 minutes. Old man still got it. I never lost it, but I just never bothered. Alright, save that. That was 4 battles apart. So that's 2 aces and 8 battles. That's okay. Okay, S2. S2. Here's the thing about wargaming buffing tanks. The majority of wargaming's buffs either don't do anything, or they overdo it. In the majority of cases. Well, they got 3, which is a problem. Tank destroyers, help us. Sauce. I need the sauce. This is a problem because I'm a leopard, and a leopard ain't built for this. Leopard is built to be the ultimate annoying bozo. Right? I'm the guy in the Leopard 1. I'm the guy that shows up behind you all the time, every time, and shoots you up the bum. That's the Leopard. If you're in front of an enemy tank in a Leopard, you're playing the Leopard role. Blind shooting compilation. Nah. That TVP did really good. So what has to happen now to have a chance at winning this battle, which it's not going to happen. Unless they really, really screw it. Yeah, just gonna take a shot at this guy because he happens to drive past. Because that now puts him... Yes, that puts him as a one-shot. About to say what has to happen now is that the Hori and the Grill have to decease. And the 183, if he's in that corner, which he never was because he was up there the entire time and I forgot it. Those guys have to decease quickly. Otherwise we got a problem. I just can't isolate them because they can cover each other. The Hori is pushing, like, why? I don't know why, but... Trying to use the regular... Why are you doing that? Why are you throwing the match, Hori? Are you stupid? Why is he throwing the match away? That gives him a broadside 183... And he missed. You bum. Alright. I'm very impressed that the 183 somehow missed the Hori at about 100 meters. Well, 140 meters, roughly. But see, this is what I said. We have to take that out, so we have a chance at winning this game. Now, I gotta sort of protect the E4. If he shoots me, I'm fine with that. I'm full HP. I gotta protect the E4 here. Because of his gun. Like, that's the thing. The E4 has higher alpha damage than me. So if that AMX shoots me once, and that allows the E4 to get another shot, then that's a favorable trade, and I mainly have to... It would have been funny if that hit, but it probably didn't. Hello there, I can play the E4. I can, yeah, so I'm gonna add it to the list after this one. So, see, the E4's alive. Because the MX-30B was pretty incompetent, to be honest here. The 183 is obviously the problem, because he can pretty much one-shot me already. So that's what I don't want to deal with. That's what I want the T95 E6 to deal with. And I don't want the I want the E4 to hide, normally. Like, I don't like telling people what to do in battle, because in the majority of cases, they'll never listen anyway. But that's what I need the E4 to do right now, is to hide in the back. I can take a shot at the 183 while he's driving, because obviously while he's driving is really inaccurate. It's kind of impossible for him to hit me that way. But that's another thing, right? Like, if you are in a, like, standoff against an enemy, and you see them, like, stand there, and then they start driving, that's when you want to peek, because that's when they're less accurate and less likely to hit you. Right, and now, I know where the 183 is, I know the 183 can't attack me from there, I know this 50B is pinned down, so, hello. One shot, I also tracked him, which means he can only trade one shot. I don't want to expose myself to the E50M, and I'm going to take out this 50B, and now... Again, I don't want to expose myself to the E50M, because I want to have that one shot still in reserve from the E50M, because if he shoots me, I'm a one shot for both the enemies. Now I'm just an one shot from the E50M, for the 183. So now, fighting an E50M in any medium is stupid. You don't want to do that. You do not want to fight an E50M, ever, fairly. You don't do that. Because the E50M is going to win, it's going to bully you, you die. If it's a good player. So now, it's up to the T95 to find the E50M and the 183. He did find it. It's also up to him to not get shot by the 183 and not die. Alright. Best thing is in a high pressure situation where both teams are around across, the best thing is to do is wait. Yep. It's not necessarily wait, don't just stay in one spot and do nothing, but take space. It's always about space, and you have space in your name, so you would know. But space is very important. The more of the map you control, like the more of the map you have available to you, like the more positions you can play, the more places you can attack from, the better of a time you're gonna have. Right? Because if you're sitting in a corner doing nothing, then waiting is bad. You wanna do active waiting. You know? Like where you drive around the map, you scout out where's the enemies. Like this. I can take a shot, boom. I'm spotted now. That allows the T95, like... See? That's another thing. If you're low HP, what you can do is, like, you can draw away focus, because enemy players love one-shots, tanks, right? They love... They try to kill one-shots all the time, and you should try to kill one-shots all the time. But that also means that if you are the one-shot, you're desirable. The enemy wants you. So you can bait the enemy into your teammates. That's what you want to do always anyway. Like, you if you have teammates around you and an enemy is attacking you, just reverse into your team. Because that way, your teammate's gonna attack that guy and he can sort of like, he's gonna surround himself with enemies. Gonna add that E4 to the list as well. Why won't they remove maps like Maya? Isn't they rare from tier 10? Because Wargaming doesn't really... Like, Wargaming listens to feedback to the extent that it won't hurt their bottom line. Right? Like, they don't want less revenues or less players, but they don't really, like, bother with the rest, you know? It's like... It's marketing 101. If your customer's unhappy but still buying, he's not unhappy. You know, you just give him a free gift or like 10% extra and then it'll be fine. You know, when the customer stops buying, then you have a real problem. But before that, whatever. Like, words don't matter unless it's words that encourage an action. You know, someone says like, "Oh, let's boycott this company because blah 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 blah," right? But if you say, "Oh, commanders suck," then Wargaming's like, "Okay," and then they're gonna change the hair from purple to just brown. Because why not? And then half-ass reintroduce the tech tree that they already had to try and pacify the community that is rightfully pissed by Wargaming attempting to rewire the entire game into something that looks like Fortnite. Well, actually, that's an insult to Fortnite. Ultra Test 1. Comparing Ultra Test 1 to Fortnite is an insult to Fortnite. Ultra Test 2 is like... It's better, but it's like... You have a steaming pile of shit. And now you've garnished it with butter. It's better. But, you know... Well, it doesn't matter if they don't have anything behind them. Guns or anything. Yeah. I mean, obviously, words do matter if they incite action. Right? Like if I say, go sit on a porcupine, and you do, I'm somewhat semi-responsible for pushing you in that direction. And I'm also responsible for the porcupine's need for lifelong therapy. We wouldn't want that. Why don't you move, man? It's firing 101. When you shoot, you retreat. Alright. The only time the enemy should be able to fire at you is when you're able to fire at them. If you're reloading, you have no point, no reason to ever be out in the open. Right? You see me? I'm moving back because the Astron could go around here and shoot me. Every time you shoot, you take cover. Alright. Like, the basic rules of Blitz are very simple. Consistently doing them. That is what's difficult. Consistently doing and applying those rules. But the rules are easy, but consistently doing and applying them, that's what's difficult. You know, because once you know what you're gonna do, you're gonna start applying it, you know? But the applying part is often the problem. And the caring part as well, because a large part of humanity simply don't care about other people. They only care about themselves. So it's like, oh, well, I mean, I don't care if I don't care if my team loses. I don't want to have fun. I'm doing 200 damage a battle, but I'm having fun. I don't care if my team loses. Something like that. I don't know. Tough part of this map is useless. It's not useless. It's good. It's good to see crappy heavy tank players that don't know what they're doing, and it's so people can drown themselves when they're mad. I think this map is probably, out of the three, Malinovka, Mirage, and this one, this is probably the one that I'd rework and keep. Mirage is a low tier map, to be honest, especially with that big hill in the middle. It's just not very pleasurable to play, really, because of that massive hill in the middle, so you'd have to rework that. Ow. Hello, I'm taking space. Stop stopping me. Alright. Would you look at that? Alright, guys. See, now I got space. Got control. Now, what these guys need to do is make use of that space and control. If they want to. Like that Kronvog and that Badger. I'm holding this place down. Right? I got them by the cojones. Right here. So... I remember the Minotaur is probably going to be here in a couple of seconds. Right, because that's the best way to fight me. I'm going to try to get a shot. Well, he's not yet there. Does that work? Yeah, buddy! See, this is what I mean. You always want to be at the enemy's side. Even in a vehicle like this. You never want to face enemies head on. And you don't want to be on their side like that. Right? I mean, if you're in a mouse, which you shouldn't be because it's stupid, and I'm stupid, you should always be the guy that's on the enemy's side. You should always be the guy that shoots them in the ass. 3 HP. It's pretty damn deadly, you gotta say. That's why you don't use HE, even if you think about it. Alright. Top rule, make a lot of holes in enemies while they make a few. Exactly. You want to make more holes than they make in you, and the best way to do that is just to play exactly like this. You know, what I just showed you. Take space, but take cover. Right? I mean, if the Minotauro was very determined to fight me, I would have had a problem, genuinely. I would have actually had a problem. And it might have not ended this well. But, because they're pussies, I can stick myself in there. It's probably, I mean, that's probably not the best way to put it, but you get what I mean. Terrible Explanations with Mortivator. Now live on, I don't know, something. BBC. Thing about commanders at the moment, they place one commander behind a paywall, the matchmaking will suffocate. Yeah, and they will. So... remember that a company... when a company says, we will never do X... it always says, we will never do X now. Right? Like, the Keniotsu was never supposed to be sold ever again. They did. They gave it away. It was available again. The E25 #1 was a special 1-year anniversary camouflage. Right? There were events that were like, this is never going to happen, and it happened again. Right? Remember that wargaming's only motive is money. And if doing something that they said they'll never do makes them money, they'll do it. Can anyone comment? Because remember, we live in a society where money is worth more than people. Which makes people with money automatically worth more. And people with no money worth less. That's the society we live in. So, yay! So in that regard, wargaming needs two types of players, right? They need whales and they need filler. They need the people that finance their game, that make them all the profit, which is like something that's like in a free-to-play game is only like 20% of players ever spent money on a free-to-play game, right? And those are and then like 1% of the players probably buy 50% of the bundles. I mean, I was one of them at some point, where I bought a lot of stuff in Blitz. I probably could have bought a car in 2005 with how much I spent on Blitz. I mean, I couldn't buy a car now, but I could have bought a car in 2005, where I was 5 or 4 or age. So but yeah. Now, what am I gonna do? I want to shoot at the enemy without the enemy shooting at me. 2007, Jesus, that's a child. It's kind of crazy when you see. Uh-oh. When you see like underscore 2005, it's like, fuck, they're 20. I'm old. I am hella old. Let's see. I genuinely feel bad for kids now. Right, if you're like 15, 16 now, wow. So at least like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, the internet was okay. But now, ouch. Fuck, the 10th needs to hurry up. I need to get my lift on again. Alright. Got a lift, bro. Go to gym. Go to gym. E50M and... oh, well, E50M, it's up to you. I can't do anything about that because I'm about to get railed big time. Oh my god! I had hit points at some point, and they won. I once had hit points, and... ow. I once had hit points. Damn. Why is my win rate so terrible? Well, it ain't me. It ain't me. It ain't me. Alright, any more tank requests? You can request a tank as much as you want it to request a tank. I can already tell you that next week there won't be a tank request stream. I'm gonna do like the playing the tank that kills me thing next week. And then after that, there's gonna be tank requests for about 2 months, and then alright. 250, hold on. 252 U, which back in my day was excellent. They're still pretty good. Obviously, there are better vehicles now. The Type 57, which is in the shop for a pretty good price. But, you know, it was good. Still holds up somewhat. It holds up better than the IS-6 or the IS-5. I mean, there was a time when the IS-5 was a really amazing deal. It was 1.5k gold. It still is 1.5k gold. But now it's so utterly trash, and you can get better Shrey tanks, that it's not worth it anymore. That's just a waste of space. It's all about the space. All the time you have to leave a space. And all the time you have to take the space. This is not, like, Blitz is not a shooting game, it's a strategy game. And the primary strategy is always, you want to be in a position where you can shoot the enemy, but they can't shoot you. Just like this one right here. And to learn that, to get good at that, that's what takes a lot of time. Because the basic rules of Blitz are very simple. Shoot, but don't get shot at. Take map control. Don't fight multiple enemies at the same time. Find a playstyle that you like and then play those tanks primarily. You don't need to be good with every vehicle, you just need to be good with the vehicles that you like because it's a game and it's supposed to be fun. And if it's not fun, then it's no point in doing it. And, yeah, that's pretty much the basics. Did I forget anything? Hello. Would you look at that? I have complete and utter control over your life. You don't even know about it. Now you're tracked. Now you lost your repair kit. Alright. Now we have a problem because they're pushing the other side. And there is nobody there that does anything. And now, what I have to do... what I do now? Do I support the Churchill? Well, he's gonna die. But I can use the Churchill's demise to bring the Basilisk down really low. Can use this ridgeline here for the gun depression, but now I can't because the Dracula's about to shoot me in the side, and I don't want that to happen. Right? I do, however, want to kill the Dracula. So, I'm gonna be careful there. I can now kill this guy very quickly without the guy re-peeking me. Now we're gonna put this guy one shot, ideally. Come on. Okay, he's dead. Good. Now it's a 3v3, and now I'm gonna go Dracula hunting because the Dracula's a one-shot. And the other two guys aren't. I know I can cross here because they're in no position to shoot me. There's the turbo. And now I know there's the Dracula. I don't exactly know where the other guy is, but... well, okay, he's back there. That now gives me free shot on this guy. Goodbye. And now we win the match. How about some of that? It's all about positioning, positioning, positioning. And again, am I shooting him in the ass? Yes, I am, because I am behind him. Yeah, I mean, it's a game. If you treat Blitz players like a resource, that's how you do really well in game. If you treat people in real life like a resource, you're an asshole. So basically, be an asshole in Blitz, and then you're gonna do really well. Because there is at no point ever gonna be a time where every player is a good player. So you want to help your team also by using your team. Look at that, 2.7k damage in a good old Comet. Yeah. Hello, Lucy. Play Scepter in my games, and it leads me to believe Wargaming forced me to lose in it with 3k average. Don't think I have the Scepter. But I do have the M3O, which is the exact same tank. So I can play that. Alright. Let's see. 250. Yeah. I mean, it's not really wargaming making you lose. Probably, because here's the thing about matchmaking. Matchmaking has to be as quick as possible. Right, so forcing like a single player to lose or to win doesn't make any sense, because the longer the queue is, the less people are gonna be in the queue, the longer the queue is, right? Because people leave the queue if it takes too long because people are impatient, right? So you want the queue as short as possible. So Blitz matches are sort of like evolution. You're never gonna get the best result. You're just gonna get the least worst result. That's gonna, like, the least worst is gonna survive and move on, right? Everything that's not compatible with life, like let's say a tier 7 and a tier 9 match, that's not gonna go through. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna go into battle. But the least worst match, that can happen at any moment, that's gonna go through. Because it's quick. That's the way the matchmaker sorts. It doesn't sort for the best match, it sorts for the least worst possible match. And then there's like a few other extra sprinkles on top. Right, like the medium tank balance of the tank side balance, you know? Like that if one side has 2 tank destroyers, the other side can have 1 or 3. That's like sprinkles on top. That's a sprinkle on the top of some matchmaking. Now I want to jump him, but I know there's a super conk there, and I know that SMV is a bit of a bitch. The way he plays. So, gotta be careful with the conk there. And the Kyler, because I do not want to get into that conk. Ow. I mean, I'm gonna die, but if you're in a situation like this and you know you're gonna die, just try to make it as hard as possible to die, to buy your team time. I mean, your team's never gonna do the same for you, but you might as well do it for them. You know, getting assistance damage here. I'm living. I'm wasting this WZ's time. I'm wasting the Conqueror's time. You know, look at that. The Conqueror's bleeding massively. He missed. I can try and make this guy miss again. Just move, wiggle. Again, he screwed up again. My presence killed the Conqueror and the WZ. And here comes the Conway and the Kyler. I'm gonna go focus on the Kyler because the Conway is gonna kill me anyway. If he shoots me. And there comes the Conway. Now, I'm gonna try and switch sides here. I'm gonna do the Italian again. Right? Trying to get away from them, trying to stay alive. Didn't work out, but again, I bought some time. He missed the Kyler. God damn, boy. What you doing? See, this HWK, he's wasting his time. He doesn't have to attack that guy. Why are you fighting a tank like that? Why are you in a light tank, head-on facing a tank destroyer? What you gotta do, my friend, is get your ass up on that hill and shoot down into his head. That's what you want to do. Or you, for example, wait for the T-92 E1 to arrive and miss for the 11th thousandth time. Alright, and then somebody get the chance to play STG. I do not play the STG as I value it little. How you doing? And the rest of the other 10 games I had 3 to 4 people doing 0 sub 500. Yeah, but here's the thing. The point of the matchmaker is to not... like, to make quick matches and not make good matches. Sometimes they're gonna get terrible matches, and with Blitz's ever-decreasing player base since 2022, you're less likely to find good matches. And with Reforged, it's probably gonna get worse, right? Because I don't know if you checked the Steam numbers. Obviously, those aren't exactly representative, but Blitz dropped more than half its player base, average player base on Steam, in the last 3 years. Right? So... that's no good. Hold on, let me check. I'm gonna check real quick. There's a website called Steam Charts that lets you see how many people play any game. It's not entirely up to date, but let's check. Current players. Playing 40 minutes, 10,574. On the server, EU CO0, it says 20,000 out of 49,000. Okay, we have 50,000 on the EU server. Probably less than 10 on NA and Asia combined. I mean, it is prime time now for playing. Doesn't Blitz that stars players hourly? EU 22,000. Okay, so it shows EU 22,000, Asia 4,000. Okay, so it's less than 10,000 combined for Asia and NA, and we have supposedly 50,000 on the EU server. Well, it says 20,070. 20,700 out of 49,746, but I don't know if that 49,000 number is the total number, or if just the all EU, if it's all EU clusters, or if it's all servers, the 50,000. So it's 50,000, and Steam it's 10,000. So Steam is a fifth of the player base, and if Steam, let's say, we have a reduction, we have a reduction from, what is the peak? 23,400 players average in December of 2021, down to 9,700, yeah. In December of 2024, that is a pretty dang big reduction, going from 23,000 to 9,000 in December, and the December before that was 12,000, so it's going down, down, down. So if we assume that Blitz has pretty much lost half its player base since 2021. Hi Jax, how you doing? If we assume the Steam numbers are correct and apply to overall numbers as well, right? Because now we have overall player numbers is about a fifth of all players. Steam is about a fifth of all players, and if Steam has a reduction of probably 65%, 60%, something like that, from 23 to 9, then perhaps the overall player base has the same problem. Maybe not as drastic, but yeah, like the Steam numbers are rough. Oh, PC has lost half its player base since May. Is that on the Steam? Yeah, well, it only counts like people using the Steam launcher, right? So it doesn't count overall server numbers, but maybe if you look up on like extra sites. What PC has lost half its... I think I don't boost the player base. Yeah, of course I did, But it's now lower than it was in 2018 as well. Like, it's not only like the entire COVID boom is over, it's now lower than it was before COVID, right? So the majority of players that joined during that time, they left again. Because if we look at 2018, December 2018, we had 9,800 average in December, and December last year had 1,000 less than December 2018. I mean, 800 to be exact, on average. So we now have lower averages than 2018 on Steam. Obviously, Steam hasn't been out for that long, so it's even more crucial to look at those numbers, because this Blitz on Steam only exists since October 2016, right? So 2 years less than Blitz has been out for entirely. Genuine code lockdown. Yep. So not only has pretty much the entire surplus that was acquired during COVID left again, now more people have left than joined since 2018. That's an ouch. I don't know, wonder why Wargaming is trying to do more crates and stuff. Yep. It's the same that they're doing the World of Tanks PC, right? World of Tanks PC, the last 2 or 3 years, they're just purely milking. It's just milking. Like, they know it's... World of Tanks PC is gonna die. So they're just trying to milk as long as they can. Right? And with the god-awful execution of Reforged, and the subsequent player drop as well, because here, again, we're comparing Decembers here, because December is like the highest player month, and we have the biggest event and the biggest influx of players again, so comparing Decembers makes the most sense, because it's like the highest peak that the game is gonna achieve in a year. That's where you have the biggest event, and if nobody's even cares about the biggest event of the game anymore, then you have a really big problem as well. So, we have new tank requests, by the way. Let's go. So when it goes that low, I mean, it still says 50,000 on the EU server. That's a lot of players at the same time in a video game, you know? That's a lot of players. And unfortunately, I don't have old screenshots from that exact number before. And also, it used to be different with like the clusters and all that, so you can't really compare that anyway. But it looks pretty damn bad. Obviously, I don't know any mobile numbers, but probably don't, because Wargaming probably doesn't give those out, but for Steam especially, it looks bad. Really bad. Like, we're 2019, like, it gradually goes up. From 2016 to 2022, it gradually goes up. And then, at the start of 2022, just boom, down. Straight down. And you have a tiny recovery in December, but it is now, there's been a 3% gain in June. Right, there was a 3% gain in June. Because again, Christmas events and people coming back to claim the bonuses, the bonus gifts and stuff, right? So you consider that as always. Type 57, I'll just keep the W. T57 heavy. Conk. It won't be Blitz. Yeah, but the one Blitz YouTuber that should quit hasn't quit. So anyway, it's probably gonna try to milk a GTA 6 when that comes out. You know? Make a insane amount of crappy videos on that. You know, just milk kids in and eventually be like a 35-year-old male with tons of money but no actual life and no ability to ever claim one. If the PC can even handle it. Yeah. It probably can. GTA 6 is probably going to be more optimized than Blitz Reforged. Believe me. Believe me. GTA 6 is going to be better optimized than World of Tanks Blitz Reforged. You heard it here first. Because, first of all, Unreal Engine 5 is that. And this team is shit, by the way. Just to have that noted. Blitz, right now, is super lightweight. It's insane. Like, this thing runs smooth. Perfect. I mean, I get 120 FPS, and it barely uses... let me check the task manager. Blitz, right now, uses 2% CPU and 10% GPU. Like, the way Blitz is optimized is fantastic. Right? Like, you can't ever criticize the way that that's done. Like, it's 11% maximum graphics. I don't know. I'll have to see. I know World of Tanks PC for the longest time only used one core, but that's a different engine. Funnily enough, the new engine that World of Tanks PC is running on, that they ported World of Tanks PC to, is called Core. So, it's kind of funny. It's also kind of funny that instead of Wargaming like adapting and improving this engine, you know, like make Blitz Engine 2 to Source 2. They're just gonna be like, let's take Unreal Engine 5, one of the engines of all time. So, let's see, performance. I mean, my cores are pretty evenly. That's parked. Yeah, half of my cores are parked. Hold on. Yeah, the 4 of them were actually doing something. The rest are parked. So, yeah, this is how insanely well optimized Blitz is, right? 10% GPU usage. 10%. In Blitz, Reforged. This is a 3080 Ti. So not the most modern GPU at this point, but I'm still gonna try to let it live till 2028, maybe even 2030. Let's see how long it's gonna last. Not gonna throw it. I mean, what I'm gonna do eventually is I'm gonna buy myself a new graphics card for this PC and then put this into my sim racing PC. But that 3080 Ti cannot produce maximum FPS, maximum graphics in Reforged. Right? That's how fucked phone players are. That is how fucked phone players are. 12700K. 12700K when in like the last Intel generation that's still bearable. Right? So, however, I mean that's not even the centerpiece of this PC, right? Because I wanted this thing to basically last forever. Like, buy one case, one set of fans, one power supply, and run it till the end. Basically. I mean, the power supply warranty is 10 years, and that's how long I want to use it as well. But yeah, I don't think I don't need to upgrade it because you know what for. I'll upgrade when one game that comes out has a 3080 listed as minimum requirements. Then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna upgrade. A relevant game, not some slop. Not unoptimized slop, but like an actual relevant game. Okay. Take space, lads, take space. I got the opportunity. The enemy mediums allowed me to take space, so now I'm taking that space. Let's go. Let's do that. Can't even get past my screen Reforged. Yeah, like, Reforged... Obviously, they're gonna still optimize it further, but they are gonna eliminate a lot of low-end devices. Right? I think the compatibility mode, let's call it that, of like the lowest graphics and 30 FPS is gonna be awful. Just to get like people still in the game, and nobody's... Who wants to play a game that looks worse than this? I mean, low graphics and Reforged look worse than this, you know? Because for a phone game, this looks pretty darn good still. Come on, get down. There we go. That's another thing, right? Graphics are great. But graphics serve one purpose. That's to enhance the gameplay. Right? To make what exists better. If you coat shit in gold, it's still shit. Graphics don't matter if the game underneath is shit. Right? Having fancy graphics in a shit game means it's a shit game, but having shit graphics and a great story, a great game underneath means it's still a great game. Like, nobody would say Half-Life is a bad game because the graphics are from 1999. You know? The graphics are from 1999. So... graphics isn't what makes games good, but it does enhance good games. Like, you saw it with Reforged. Everyone was like, hey, new graphics, and then, oh my god, everything else is fucking shit. Which it is, let's be fair. There are a few improvements, like for example the tank search bar and the ability to see which tanks exist and you don't have. That's a great feature. You know, where you can like type in the tank's name and you don't have to like just scroll for 5 hours to find it. Those are great additions, right? But the rest of it is just ass. The UI is ass. The commanders is pointless. The sets are dumb. Right? So, like, just updating the graphics to Reforged, that should have been the primary thing, you know? And if they wanted to change other things, they should have asked the community, like, do you want... But just ask subtly. Just say, are you happy with the current implementation of tech trees? Ask that question, right? And if everybody says yes, then why would you change it? So, yeah, the Wargaming colossally fucked up. They didn't give a shit about what the community actually wants, and it shows. So, and now obviously they're trying to claw it back, and everybody hates Reforged because the first impression is important. Right? The first impression is very important. Now, a lot of people still have the... It's trash in the back of their head, and a lot of people are simply gonna just leave. Hi Phoenix, how you doing? Hi Syed. German is scary. Only if they don't believe that some people are people. Then it's scary. Every human is a human, but not every human has humanity, and those that don't should never be in a position of power. But anyway, so... let's see. But that's the thing, you know, if Wargaming just did the graphics, and then later, like let's say you did the graphics, and then 3 months later you say, okay, we're gonna rework tech trays, we're gonna, like, rework the crew, but they tried everything at once, and that's dumb, you know, like, if you this is the problem of society, we can put it there as well, like, if you change nothing, it's crap. If you change everything, it's also gonna be crap. Right? You have to look at everything, identify problems, and then solve problems. Right? And if something's not a problem, then you don't need to solve it. But you need to progress into the future, because otherwise, you know, right now, we laugh at people. We're like, haha, those stupid morons back in the medieval times, they supported witch burnings. But the same people back then are the people now that say, like, you know, far right stuff, you know? That's what I mean. You know, it's always... it sounds really stupid to look at the regressives of the past, but they're still there in the present. You know, the people that hate electric cars now, they're gonna be looked at probably in the same light as the people that were against the printing press or against electric light. Like, why? And that's how change works, and if you try to change everything, it's gonna be terrible. If you want to change nothing, it's also gonna be terrible. So what Wargaming should have done is like, okay, we're gonna rework the graphics, and we're gonna make a new engine, and we're gonna make that work, right? And now the new engine works, now the new graphics are in the game, now we're gonna go to change other things that we don't like, that the players don't like, right? But instead they bunched it all together and they made the graphics changes shit by bundling it with other stuff that people don't want. You know, I mean, they had the chance to, I mean, they already, like, backtracked on stuff like, the steel currency, which, honestly, I don't know if the person that invented steel parts spare parts. I don't know if the person that invented spare parts still works at Wargaming, but they might, because it might be the same person that made steel. Which is stupid. I kind of feel bad about for that person. Because they, you know, but anyway. And whoever greenlit 5.5, same. Like the whole tech tree change and everything. They changed it from tier 1 to 10 to 1 to 7, which... and they made the enemy teams blue. You know, all those kind of things. All those kind of things. It's all just like... change for the sake of change. Change things that need to change. You don't change things that are fine. You know? However, to identify what needs change and what doesn't, you look at everything and you look, okay, that's fine. It's not fine, we're gonna change that. How do we change that? Blah, blah, blah. To wonder if I was on his help. It was, yeah. Low tiers were a blast. I have like 400 battles in the T2 Lite. You know, because it was like a complete revolver gun that was really fun to play. Exhibit A of why you shouldn't put yourself into shitty positions. See, what those guys should do is wait for us to take the space, because right now we are taking space here. We're doing our thing. But those two guys, they thought... They know that they're alone. They know that. They know that they're on their own. So they made the conscious decision to lose right there. Because they could have made the choice to stay back where the 1-to-1B is and hold. Because now the enemies are getting surrounded, you see? Now they're getting surrounded. But now... they're not surrounded anymore. Because those guys, the Yor, the Rhinoceronte, they threw, they lost. They did nothing. Like sometimes, it's all about the space. But, not only do you need to take space, you also need to understand how to hold space. How to work space. You know? Because now that leopard needs to help me with the 260. I need to focus on the 260. And kill the 260. But I can't do that because now I'm being pushed by everybody. Because this team is ass and they fell apart. And the enemy team played really well by identifying that the Rhinoceronte and the Yor were in crappy positions and exploiting that. You know, one of the essential things as well, if you're that Yor, that Rhinoceronte, is pretend that you have backup when you don't. Right? It's the same if you're in an autoloader. 90% of players don't count how many shells you fired. So if you pretend like you're peeking them, if you pretend like you're attacking them, they'll think that you have shells. Right? It's all about mind games. You know, Blitz and politics ain't so different after all, because in both, you want to make the other guy believe something that's not true whatsoever. But it's time for another round of Tinker Quest. Let's go. Better yet, make a bio engine that runs on ATP produced by harvesting safe plastic dishes microbes. Lettuce is in the enemy team. Alright. ATP only lasts like a few seconds before it falls apart. Yeah, it's not a useful thing. I mean, I think. Oh yeah, well, see, yeah. Well, I take back everything I said. This is. Ow, man, ow. Let's look at the low tiers, right? Because if someone sucks in low tiers, yeah, they do suck. He does suck in low tiers. Jesus Christ. But you know, some people they just really struggle with high tiers, and then they just. But like this is, ouch, bro, ouch. 26,000 bells, 41%. There was never a time in that player's life where it could have held that position. So, yeah. What's all of this? I don't know. Camouflage. Hot dog van. What's that? 30k free XP. These are so-called whale crates, right? Where you spend a lot to get nothing, but you spend a lot of something that you have in abundance. Like, I have 355 million credits. I could spend all that. I don't need it. I have every single tank. Right, so those, like, luxury lounge event. Those luxury lounge events, they're for me. For players like me. Right, because they want me to spend all that credits so that when the next tank comes out, I have none and I buy more. Imagine you're a cow. See ya, Marky. Have a good one. Imagine you're a cow. The farmer's coming to milk you. That's wargaming. Rhino. Oh yes. Probably haven't played that in years. Batchat 25T. The Rumpazava. And one more tank can be requested while I look up when I played the IS for the last time. Alright, Soviet IS February 28th, 2023. February 28th, 2023. Alright, Chims. Alright. There is gonna be one more round of tank requests after this one. Maybe one more round of tank requests after this one. Trying to do 5. Oh, no, 6 rounds now. Actually better than luxury lounge containers in terms of gold return. Yeah, but it's awful. Whale crates gotten progressively worse each event. Of course they have. It's called drip feeding. For example, what Xiaomi, the phone company, did really successfully. Right? They started off in their inception. They made amazing phones. You know, better processors, better screens, cheaper than pretty much all other Android phones. Right? And it was also at a time where Huawei got kicked out of Android because they are Chinese spies, and so is Xiaomi, by the way, but they haven't. To my knowledge, they haven't been kicked off Android yet, so they probably went about their way better. But yeah, they started off doing really, really great phones. You know, better processors, better screens, everything. So you buy your first phone from them, and it's amazing. And they probably lose money on it. And they can, because a lot of those corporations are corporations of corporations. Right? Which means that it's a different company losing money on their behalf. So they lose a lot of money at the beginning, but they build a massive customer base. And now, you gradually reduce the quality of the phone. Right? You use worse quality screens, just slightly worse. You know? Not that you'll notice, but you'll make worse screens. And now you use the same processors again and again. Like 5 years later, you use the same processor because, you know, you already have millions of them. They're cheap. So, you increase the prices, right? You advertise extra features that are pointless. And now, all of a sudden, you have this established customer base because they all bought your amazing cheap phone. And they're like, oh, well, I have this, I'm gonna buy another one of them. Because, you know, people are animals of convenience. So, you'll just buy it again. But now it's a terrible product at a much higher price. And the profits are gonna be legendary. So... basically, you can describe any form of marketing with a single sentence of get as close to lying as possible without actually lying. Alright. The closer you go to the lie, the better your marketing will be. It's like Red Bull. It gives you wings. But they got sued because they didn't give actual wings. So now it says wings with like 3 eyes. Because, you know, it's not an actual plane. It's just, you know. It's just that. Is Rheinmetall yes, of course it is. Rheinmetall... Rheinmetall is doing really well right now. Like, extremely well. Sell the fantasy, not the product. Exactly. Sell a why, not a what. You know, why do you buy it, not... Like, why would you buy an Apple instead of an Android? And it costs more, and whatever. But it's why. Why do you buy that specific brand or that specific product from that brand? Why do you buy that? And that's the thing. Nobody ever asks why. Nobody ever asks why, most of the time. Like, why is it the way it is? Nobody ever asks that. People always say, oh, what is it? Or how is it? But nobody ever asks why. Why is it the way that it is, right? How did it get there? Nobody ever asks that. So if you can answer that why, without anyone ever asking you, you're golden. Have fun. I like the Go Pixel series, like Nike. Yeah. Again, I mean, look at Red Bull. Red Bull is an entertainment company that accidentally sells drinks now. You know, they sell the idea of, like, what do you associate Red Bull with? Do you associate Red Bull with liquid chewing gum that tastes like shit? Or do you associate Red Bull with, like, Max Verstappen or, like, extreme sports or, you know, wingsuit flying or base jumping or, you know, motocross? That's kind of what you associate Red Bull with, you know? And in a way, if you pay like €2 for that shitty little can of trash, you're buying a little piece of that excitement, a little piece of that experience. You know? It's why do you drink Red Bull? Because all those cool people, they got it on their chest while they're hurling down a mountain at 100 kilometers an hour. Associate Red Bull with overworked retail workers. Well, that's every company ever. They probably would. I would assume that 80% of stock market listed companies would not exist in their current form without some level of exploitation. Yeah. So, I mean, it's that eternal bullshit again, you know? German politicians are against immigrants, but then they complain when the immigrants refuse to pick cucumbers for a wage that's a joke. You don't get anywhere without exploitation. You know. It's bullshit. Any great empire always built their success on exploiting minorities. That's how it goes. How much do you think a frickin' phone would cost if all those rare earths, which aren't rare and aren't earths, would have to be mined by European workers on European safety standards and European wages? Ouch. Yeah, but if you got a child to dive in the dirt in Mozambique, here you go. This wasn't. I think it was a Ghana where the most of the rare earths is from, but I don't remember right anymore. But there's 2 kidney stones. Yeah, you wouldn't. You would not want a kidney stone. I could recommend a Soulbook Racing with some Red Bull channel and they were Centennial Watch. Yeah, of course. It's the whole point of those things to entertain. You know? That's why Mercedes went to Le Mans and into Formula 1 and into DTM. Because in the 90s, Mercedes was an old people car. You know, your grandpa drove a Mercedes. You didn't. Why would you? Right, so they went racing. And, ayo, look at us. We got beat by a BMW from a lower class, but we're Mercedes. Right. It's that way in the car industry. Win on Sunday, sell on Monday. Boom. Right, Ferraris have awful build quality, for the most part. But it's a Ferrari. It means something. Hi Bob, how you doing? Welcome. I don't do platoons. But how you doing? 25T. It's the same. The thing is, again, you cannot resist marketing ever because you're psychological. Like, this, like, minus 85% in orange. And, like, this flipping through and one left, 5 days, right? These things, you exploit fundamental traits of your mind that you can't turn off. You can be aware of this as much as you want. At some point, in some way, you're still gonna fall for it. Right? And you're not even gonna notice. Don't tune. I'm astonished by feats performed by other humans because I can also perform if I invest the time for feats. Well, you can't deadlift 500 kilograms. You can't. So, because you'll die. Even at the... every other day is a war. Yeah, and why? Because some putz in a suit and too tiny of a cock thinks that he's entitled to a piece of land that was never his and he doesn't deserve or anything. But yeah. I mean, if we would invent proper penis lengthening, we could probably avoid half of all wars that I ever started. You know? Yeah, let's draw. Eddie Hall. Yes. Eddie Hall can. But you can't. I'm on the EU server. Like 90% of Blitz players. Man. I mean, if you look at Africa, there's so many wars there you can't even keep track. Because as it turns out, that putting people from different cultures and tribes into the same country against their will and then making them poor and miserable doesn't work. Right? Like if you have 3 people from entirely different backgrounds, ideas, and whatever, and you put them in the same room, and all 3 of them have a donut, they're gonna be like, hey, a donut. But if you give 2 of them a donut, then you got a fucking problem. I subscribe to the idea that sexual insecurity is a precursor to fashion. It is, yes. Because fascism also builds on, like, what good old Nietzsche's Übermensch, you know, like the superhuman, the better human. You know? It's like this idea of male superiority that works itself into fascism, of course. Right? Because here's an idea. If you're happy, if you have everything you'd ever want, why would you hate other people? Why would you try to kill other people? Why would you blame other people? Right? But if you don't have what you want, if you're unhappy, if you're miserable, you try to make other people more miserable. You try to take from other people because they are happy and you're not, and you want to take that from them. Right? And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Because if nobody's miserable, nobody would vote for far-right trash parties. Because if you're happy, why would you want to ruin other people's lives exactly? Right? Why would you blame other people for your problems when you don't have any problems? You know, but if you have problems, there's two ways. One easy way and one hard way. The easy way is just blame a certain group of people and kill them. Just like they did with Jesus. The hard way is to look at the problem, identify the problem, work up solutions, find the best solution and solve it. That's hard, it's difficult, that sucks. Bro, get our ruler out, we're drawing lines to these new borders. I mean, look at the India-Pakistan border. It was drawn by a guy that's never been there and that never had anything to do with geography. Or India or Pakistan. Have a good one, Timo. And then they shortened the exit timeline in the last second as well. You know, they... if I remember right, it was supposed to be like a 3-year withdrawal period. But then they were like, you know what, let's do it in 3 months, fuck it. And they fucked it up. Completely. It's just the same with German reunification. They did everything wrong that could have possibly been done wrong. You know, East Germany got raided to fuck. Their companies got destroyed. And their economy got screwed. That they had. And West Germany incurred a shitload of debt that they got nothing for. Except angry East Germans that now vote for Nazis. But hey. Here we are. Maybe they're just submissive and like being dominated, I don't know. Yes, Daddy King, tell me what to do. Jesus Christ. Fucking cringe that. Unless it's like a... like Nordic style king, you know, where they're more of a mascot than anything. You know, that's cool. Because if a sports team can have a mascot, why not a country? You know, if he wears a fancy little hat, sure. Why not? Alright. I was mystery how it's supposed to be smartest who went to law school and stuff who are meant to be the best of the best, man. Like, bro. What do you mean? We teach information, not intelligence. In school. Here's the thing, in school, how much time did you spend on ingesting information? And how much time did you spend on actually analyzing and filtering information? Because most of school is a guy at the front telling you what it is. So, I mean, it is changing slowly and steadily, and it's getting better somewhat. But what you learn there in that method of, like, frontal class, you learn how to take in information from a to you superior individual. Right? I think it would be very important for teachers to also say things that are wrong. And to have the student to raise their hand and be like, that's wrong. Here's why. Right? Let's see. Because if you're in school, and everything you're told is automatically true, and then you get out of school, and now you've watched Fox News or something, everything you're told is automatically true. So, because if you put two children, they did this experiment many times, you know, they put two children of like different skin colors or different religions together, and then they asked what's different about them, and they said like, oh, he has a different color shirt. You know, stuff like that. That's what came out. You know, it never was anything like pointless. So pretty much all of that is cultural, like taught. You know, like anger is natural, but hate towards other people is always a product of one's upbringing. Always. And for the most part, it's an area was really historical. You know, I don't know if it's in. Yeah, I mean the lawyer that I don't know his name, but the lawyer that drew up Pakistan and India was basically like, okay, listen, if it's a majority Hindu area, India. If it's a majority Muslim area, Pakistan. Done. Right? No thought into it whatsoever. And it was like, just, if there's 50.1% Hindus, that's a part of India. But yeah, perhaps that's a bad idea because, yeah, that's doesn't work well. But hey, here we are. They both have nukes. Ouch. So does North Korea, which so does America now. Oopsie. And the French, which are probably have the worst nuclear doctrine. In case you don't know, French nuclear doctrine is basically, if the Russians get anywhere close to Germany, we'll turn the entirety of Germany into a nuclear wasteland that nobody can cross. At least that was the policy before. It's obviously not that the same anymore, but yeah, it's kind of funny. History's fucked up. And history becomes very sad if you start realizing that the exact same people that voted NSDAP 100 years ago vote AFD now. In a German context. So, it's the exact same people, exact same type of people, with the exact same motivations. Why they're doing it. But yeah. Get ready for the 4th season of Reich. I mean, the third one was pretty universally badly reviewed, as we all know. First one was way too long. Like, insane how long that one was. But yeah, the 4th one's probably not gonna be too good either. Alright, tank requests, let's go. You got a request now, Bob. Right, put your request in the chat now. Can't get leaders by intelligence because corruption can lead to biased tests that favor certain candidates. It's also going to lead to a shitload of racism, yes. It's also going to lead to a shitload of racism, which is why you have to force people into power against their will, basically, to make a just society. Because the people that want to be in a position of power are the people that should never be allowed to be in it. That's the basis of it. China's the same time this is still like nuclear secrets on North Korea. Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. Panzer. Well, that is a member tank. Any tank destroyer that does not have a turret is a member tank. Caliban. I don't like them tanks. Why is this Pavlok tank in a drawer? Who would want to spend money on this? We don't want the most charming buffoon on top who is popular. Well, that's the thing. Politics is just marketing. It doesn't matter what you think and what you believe. It matters, can you sell it to the people? Can you convince the people that you're better than the other guy, no matter if you are or not? You know? I mean, look at the Orange Man in the US. It's like, the guy didn't win on policy because he's a piece of shit at everything. But he's got moron charisma. Right? He's got this, like, being which tells people that suck that they don't suck. You know? Because that's how things like nationalism and stuff can get hold. Because if you are somebody, if If there is something that gives your life value, because life objectively has no value, of course, duh. If you have something to give yourself value, you don't need stuff like that. But if you are nothing, if you are nobody, and someone comes along and says, hey, you're special because you are X nationality, then you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel special, right? Because you're part of a group that's better than everybody else, right? And you're part of a group that's in on it, that's better, that knows things that the others don't know, and like, you know, and that's how cults happen. You know, and it doesn't matter if it's on a small-scale religious cult or in a large-scale America cult. You know, it's always the same. It's always people that are nothing, that want to be something, and then they're lied to that they're special. Yeah, the Pavlok tank doesn't... There's not a lot of point in obtaining it. That's 4. Alright. Oh, that's 4. Oh. Perhaps want to fight the enemy. And perhaps also want to evacuate this position, but not yet. Okay, now. Well, we got this. I mean, this is an okay tank. It's not a tank that you want to pay for, but if you get it free, hey, oh, it's nice. You know. I kind of future leader when I train Asian tennis game. Yeah, but that's just monarchy with extra steps. Or like you train a guy to be the leader. That doesn't work. All right. There is no perfect system. I mean, the closest to a perfect system that humanity currently has is the Nordic system. That's as close to perfection as we can currently get. Right? So... yeah. No system. It takes a very long time to explain, but it's basically make a shitload of money, invest that shitload of money into the happiness of the people. Education, health, retirement, all of that. Pump it into the damn people. Right? The money is for the people and not for the corporations, basically. Yeah. And... uh-oh. Let's see. I'm gonna die. Oh, he's got another one. I'm gonna die! We brought up I'm not even in the USC primary. Yeah, I have. I wouldn't have a problem with that guy. You know, I mean, if you have the choice between that guy, a man credibly accused of sexual assault, and a Republican, I just repeated myself, but yeah, that's you know. So he said he's a democratic socialist, which, you know, is that a bad thing? I don't know. Because here's the thing. Socialism, communism fails because of the people. Fascism fails because of the system. Right? Because the goal of fascism is to kill people. Right? That's the goal of it. But with like socialism, communism, what ends up happening is either the CIA overthrows socialist governments that try, you know, because you can't have that, or because you have the party, it just turns into a party dictatorship instead of a person dictatorship, because people that want power will put themselves into a position of power and then exploit those positions of power for their own personal gain. So, yeah. It's like, without eliminating human greed and hate towards people that look marginally different, it's not going to go anywhere. And that's unfortunately always going to be the case, you know? I mean, ask yourself this. 70% of people on Earth have brown eyes. That's a majority. So if you don't, you're a minority. If you're left-handed, you're a minority. If you wear glasses, you're a minority. You are part of some minority, right? So the next time someone goes out and, you know, blames some random minority for all your problems, ask yourself, what if it was a minority I'm part of? So, yeah. Bro, you're doing this thing about for the welfare of the people. Get them. Yeah. It's kind of funny how, like, they think that taxing billionaires properly is a bad thing. It's like, you will never be a billionaire. In Germany, 75% of German billionaires are inheritance billionaires. Like, they inherited a billion or more. And another, probably 20%, are inheritance millionaires that used the millions to turn them into billions, right? There's probably, out of 3,000 billionaires on this planet, there's probably 100 that got there on their own, with an insane amount of luck. The rest of them either had rich parents, or they had a rich uncle, or they had an uncle that worked at a big company that gave them a contract, something like that, right? You don't get rid of kings and you just rename them, right? Because once a family is rich, it's almost impossible to lose that money unless you're really stupid. Because the more you have, the more you get. The more you have, the more you get. Because money is worth more than people. Always has been, always will be. Ask yourself, why is work taxed at a higher rate than stocks? Because money and material wealth is worth more than people. People are just another resource. That's how the system works. Everybody needs to have more wealth in most countries. Exactly. Hi, Sissy, how you doing? Need to make them poor again. Not really. Not really. Alright. I mean, that's another thing. We have enough food. We have enough wood. We have enough energy to supply everybody. We have more than enough capacity to build housing for the homeless. We have more than enough capacity to feed the poor. We don't. Why? It's not profitable. Helping someone that's homeless is not profitable. If it was, it would be done. That's what it's about. So, that's the system we built. Alright. And to defend that shitty system, to uphold that shitty system, you have to divide people. You know? You have to divide people. You have to tell the poor guy that the homeless guy wants to steal the poor guy's dollar. Because in the meantime, while you tell the poor guy that the homeless guy wants to steal the poor guy's dollar, you can steal everything from the poor guy. Again, because if you keep people uneducated, they'll believe anything. Because there's always going to be 15 to 20% assholes. Always. It's just how it is. That's just how a species works. But you can turn everyone else into a decent person, can you? Alright, Lucy. Have a good one. See you win under 2 minutes. Yep. 1-1-3. Hello. Don't consider business degrees a proper education. A business degree is worth nothing. Like, look at financial advisors. I mean, to get back to this, look at financial advisors. McKinsey. First, they advised Warner Bros. Discovery to merge, and then they advised them to split again. Huh? And it cost like 100 million, that advisor, right? And it happened in Germany as well. Like, the German government paid 60 million euros for a study on why there are so many jobless people. Right? They paid 60 million for that study. You know what the end result of that study was? For 60 million? That there aren't enough people that have a job, so there should be more jobs offered to the people that don't have a job. Yeah. 60 million. Blah. Like, the majority of advisors are the most useless people on the planet. Like, most of the time, you don't even need advisors. Advisors are just an excuse. You know, so you don't do the stupid shit yourself. You know, you pay the advisor to advise the stupid shit, so you can blame the advisor instead of having to take the blame yourself. You know, it's like, if you work at a company and you're the CEO, and you want to lay off people, but you don't want to look like an asshole, even though you are. You hire an advisory company, and the advisory company is gonna be like, okay, okay, your company should reduce employees by 20%. And then the CEO goes out again and says, yes, this advisory company has said that we need to reduce employees by 20%, so you're all fired. Boom, blame shifted. Beautiful, isn't it? It's wonderful. You pay the advisor a lot of money, so they take the blame for what you want. It's the same with, like, policy. If you can just blame someone else for your problem, you don't have a problem. Any more requests? Any more requests? You can request 2 more tanks today. Make use of it. There aren't enough jobs. Yeah. No, that's not true. There aren't enough good jobs. There aren't enough good jobs. Alright. Because here's the thing. If the only value as an employee that you have is the value that you produce, you might as well have no value at all. Let's see, where's my ball? I can exchange my number ball. Newest tank container. Includes... You may receive one of the newest tanks from the list of 10%. Okay, Lion... Yeah, I'm not gonna get a tank, of course, but... Yeah, well, that was a waste of space. That's sad. Don't think I have the destiny. What is the destiny? Is it tier 8? No. See, it would be very nice if there would be a search bar. Just you can look up vehicles. Yeah, I definitely don't have it. So T-34-2. T-34-2. 2.9. Well, I don't have that now because I only have the 255A 2.9. There's that. Yeah, major thoughts. Nope. I think the first thing one has to accept to think validly about anything is that there will never be a perfect solution. And those that sell you a perfect solution are the worst people. If someone goes out there and says, I have the answer to every question, they have the answer to no questions. I guess playing sucked and I couldn't damage. Oh. Welcome back. Stop the blame. I've never said that blaming valid problems on valid causes of problems is bad. It's just if you have a problem and you blame it on someone that has nothing to do with it. You know? If I blame the fact that my team loses on the existence of the country of Swahili, then that's bullshit. Let's see if someone catches it. Alright. Where's the... I think I can go for the type here. Fire Raider. I want the type. He's level 50 type. I'm down on hit points, but I'm up on spirit. I want you, baby. I'm gonna die! God damn it. Well, I tried. Try to run it through. That was fun. Doesn't 100 suck. I mean, the entire tank sucks, so yes. Anyway, one more tank can be requested. Requested now, or sure, my best, but 4 people did under 1k. Well, see, here's the thing. There's always gonna be terrible people. But you can still always try your best. Hold on. I'm gonna be evil. Play it before. I don't really mind that. I don't really mind that. It's like a tier 7. I wish XP was given on performance rather than 80% based on whether you win or lose. Yeah, but it's still a team game. You're still in the hole together mostly. Alright. Lads, you gotta hold this point. If you lose this point here, then you lose the map. Because here's something magic about blitz maps. Blitz maps are designed to be fought in the middle. Right? If you don't, like, these guys are way too far back. They're way too far back. Right? You've got to fight in the middle and hold in the middle. If you don't do that, if you fight from the back where the AMX 5100 is, then you're gonna lose your match because these maps are designed for the fights to happen in the middle of the map. If you're not there, if you don't take control, if you don't fight in the middle, you lose. There's a Steyr who's overextending. Like, it's this... That's the thing. It's this fine balance between pushing and taking space and not over-pushing. That's the fine balance that the majority of Blitz players will never learn. It's the fine balance that takes probably 10, 15,000 battles to properly figure out. For the majority of people. But once you figure that out, you're gonna do really well. See, what am I doing now? This is a pincer. Right, the Löwe, the defender, they're coming from one side, and there's the Byzonte on the other side. I don't want to be the guy that gets surrounded. I want to get the heck out of there. The defender. You know, what is he doing? Can he turn around like that? No. Am I going to attack him from behind? Absolutely. Oh, fuck. Well. He found out about it. Alright. I got outsmarted by the T-34. Well, there is bad variation of the T-34, but that's not one of them. Right, it's time. It's time for the most important tank in the entire world. MS1. Shame! That is heresy. You shall take back what you have just uttered. There is one truth, and one truth only, and that is the M2 Light is the ultimate vehicle in World Tanks Blitz. There is no tank in the entirety of the world that is as superior, as beautiful, as dominant, as arousing, as awesome as the M2 Light. There is nothing that you could ever comprehend as great as the M2 Light. There will be people who put a gun. Yeah, but that's a... I wish I could play that. Like, I wish that would be an actual fun mode. Like, I wish they made a mode out of that where you have like an MS1 with that gun. I would really play the hell out of that mode, because that's one thing that World of Tanks PC does really great, is the special modes. You know, how many, like, they've done tank racing like 5 or 6 times now. Every like 1 or 2 years they did tank racing as a special event. But it's always different. Right? It's always significant. Like, tank racing is always significantly different from the last time. So it makes it great. Right? It started off with like the Chaffee Cup a long time ago. And like recently they did this like platform event. You can race with the tanks in. They're all unique and special, right? Even the like the Mirny events that they did, and I don't know if they still do them, but probably changed them. Even the Mirny events, they came back a couple of times, but they were always different. Right? They always had a few tweaks to them that made them special and interesting again. But Blitz doesn't do that. Blitz has fun modes, yes, but they're fun modes. They're not special modes. Like, for example, the Duck event, if you remember that. The Duck, that was a special event. Because it had an entirely different map, entirely different mechanics, entirely different tanks and vehicles. Right? It's the same base mechanics, but completely different. Another great event in World of Tanks PC was that the Mark 1 event, right? Where you had these tiny little armored cars. I don't know, that was like 2016 was that. It was an amazing event. You had these like, tiny little armored cars you could drive around the map with. And one team had to destroy the Mark 1 that was slowly trundling towards the base, and the other team had to help the Mark 1 get to the enemy base. And that was an amazing event as well. And Blitz doesn't do that. Blitz special modes are the exact same game modes that are regular in rating. It's just they have all special. They all have special gimmicks. It's the same maps. It's the same game modes. It's just they have a special gimmick. You know, oh, one has respawns and those special abilities. Another one has different special abilities and no respawns. One has the same maps but tiny. One has the same maps but more people. You know, it's always just the same thing, slight variation of it. It's never special. Right? It's never something that wasn't there before and won't be there after. So it's like the same. You started off with Mad Games, and then you had Uprising and Gravity. Right? Those are the base 3 start. And they added like Gravitizing and Big Boss. I mean, Big Boss added something interesting for a while. And then you realize that it actually sucks because it pretty much... A match in Big Boss, pretty much 80% depends on whether the player that's the boss is a good player or sucks. Right? Or even different tanks as the boss as well. One side has an E100 as a boss, and the one has like, I don't know, friggin' CS63. Like, oh well. So, I mean, Gravitizing is a fever dream anyway, and things like realistic battles, which suck, in my opinion. Like, we have realistic battles, you have 10v10s, and you have, what's that called? Where you have, like, the limited maps and it's 5v5. It's like, what's the point of that even, you know? Like, come on. Skirmish, that's the one. Yeah. So, they're great for the first time, but when they come, like... When Uprising comes back for the 7th time, and all that Wargaming does is make them less the way they're supposed to be. Like, I don't know if you remember the early days of Mad Games where you can, like, yeet the Hellcat all across the map, right? Because the Hellcat had the speed boost, and you can just yeet, right? And they removed that. Basically, all the vehicles that were special in those fun modes, all the vehicles that had amazing abilities, all the vehicles that made the game mode amazing, they got changed. They got changed, they got nerfed. They got given different abilities that weren't as chaotic anymore. And the point of fun modes is that they're fun. Right? But if you keep nerfing the fun modes, like you remember Gravity, the early days of Gravity when there were no thrusters. It was just VK168s, Mouses, VK100s, and obviously everyone hated those guys, but if you played one of those, it was hella fun to just ram the hell out of a little tiny light tank. But it was also hella fun to have that guy charge you, miss, and then you destroyed them. Because the tanks were actually dog shit. Like, the VK168 is dog shit. Right? But Gravity gave the VK168 a purpose. It gave it a reason to exist. Now it doesn't have a reason to exist anymore. It's worthless. It's useless because you can just jump out of the way. Right? Like, they could have solved it by, like, increasing the weight, like, to make them a little bit slower. But they added thrusters and they just completely fucked with the game mode. Because that's not the point. And it's the same with the other modes, you know, with Mad Games, where they changed the abilities of... Oh, fuck yeah, you Platoon. They're not even Platoon, they're harassing me, Jesus Christ. But, you know, they changed all the fun modes for the worse. Don't try to get into my game. If there's one thing in Blitz that I genuinely hate, it's stream snipers. And you will get banned if you try to stream snipe me. So... like, stream sniping is the gaming equivalent of walking to a restaurant and seeing a person eating a burger and they're just walking up to the side of them and biting into their burger. God damn! I did top damage. But I failed. I'm a disappointment. I'll never be a good boy. Oh no. It's a good burger though. Yeah, but... you know. It ain't cool, yo. Here's how society should work. Everyone gets a burger. Unless everyone has a burger, nobody gets a second. Boom. If everyone has a burger, you can have a second, you can have a third. But if there are people that don't have one, we prioritize everyone getting one before someone gets a second. That's how it should be. That's how I'd explain it. So let's get a hot dog. What's the hot dog worth? 5 gold boosters. Woo. What about the 30,000 pound people? I mean, if you weighed that much, you'd be dead, but at that point, that's an eating disorder. That's a genuine illness that needs to be taken care of. You know, like nobody gets over 500 pounds without having a genuine problem with themselves that needs urgent medical attention. You know, it's the same with anorexia, like not eating anything and trying to be as skinny as possible. Those are medical problems that need to be solved by medical professionals. That's it. You know, again, an intelligent middle ground is, in most cases, the best thing to have. And I mean intelligent middle ground because, like, for example, the middle ground between eating asbestos and not eating asbestos would be eating a little bit of asbestos. That's not valid. So in most cases, the intelligent middle ground is probably the best thing to go for. You know, like the middle ground with which a reason has been applied to. Let's put it that way. What is this? Rewind. Yeah! It's rewind time! You ever seen the doctor vids where the, like, no, you don't eat, you eat food the next 3 weeks? Oh, what was his name? Like, Dr. It was like this tiny Arab guy that was on, my 600 pound life. I know about him. I know about his existence. But I don't remember too much because I haven't really watched it much. But yeah, that's... I've seen some meme clips, you know? I've seen some meme clips, but yeah, that's about all I know about him. You know? What about it? It's the same, you know? Should you fat shame people? Or skinny shame people? Absolutely not. Are you allowed to point out that they are that? Of course. And should people that claim that being extremely overweight or extremely underweight is healthy, should those people be told to shut the fuck up? Yes. Right? But, you know, if you're happy and you don't harm anybody else with it, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You know, don't lie. That's all. You know. In my opinion, freedom of speech does not include the freedom to lie. But here we are. If you know something is... If we know something to be not true, it's not true. Until someone proves otherwise, and until someone proves otherwise, shut the fuck up. And until someone proves the M2 Lite is not the greatest tank that has ever been built, because it is, undoubtedly. I will keep playing it because I now have 673 battles in this vehicle, 218 aces, which amounts to... Lucy, that's blasphemy, and you know it. You know it's blasphemy. Otherwise I'd take a bite out of your burger. Well, I don't have a burger. I had a pizza today, so... Ha! Take that. Huh. Obviously the question is... do I bother with making a Type 57 review again? Or do I not? Probably not. We'll see. Definitely not gonna review this thing. These gold... by the way, do you remember when these gold bundles used to be spaced different? Like, the most expensive gold bundle always... at the start, it was 90 euros. At the start, it was the highest was 90 euros, then it was 99, then it was 110, and now it's 150. Right now, the second bundle is 100. The 100 used to be the most expensive bundle, the biggest bundle. And I mean, 63,000. So, the old conversion was 2 gold on the cent. So, like, you get 2 gold for each cent. So here, you'd have 50k. But, yeah. You're not getting value, really. I mean, this bundle used to be a lot less as well. Like, the big bundle... obviously, they made the ×2 permanent now, as far as I know. No, one, it says 1 left. You see it says 1 left. So probably the next one is a lot smaller again. Because it used to be, remember, when the biggest one, that was 99... was 37,000 plus 37,000. You remember that? We had like one offer of gold. We had like 37,500 plus 37,500 as a bonus. And that was the 99.99. Right? But now 99.99 is 63,000 gold without any bonus on top. But you have 1 left. So I wonder. I wonder. Because back then, the 99.99, like the 100 euros, that's another marketing trick, by the way, that you write 99.99 instead of 100 because it's a smaller number, right? Because 100 is a lot grander, a lot bigger than 99.99. But yeah, like this used to be 75,000 gold for the same money. And it used to be the biggest bundle. Right? Because you had 37,500 plus 37,500 for 99.99. That used to be the biggest bundle. But now, you have 103 for 150, which is fucked up. So that's gotten worse as well. Massively. I don't agree. We should restrict freedom to lie, but I would find hilarious if Fox News managed to have a banner scrolling at the bottom. Well, here's the thing. Fox News is not news. Fox News is entertainment. Hey, big man. Check Discord. Check Discord. Later. Psychology. Because that's fine. Exactly. At least it looks better. Like, the smaller number automatically looks like a better deal. Now, what I mean, Phoenix, is I mean... like, you shouldn't be allowed to lie about things that are verifiably false. Like, if you say, the Earth is flat, if you say vaccines cause autism, or if you say... I don't know, white people are better than everyone else. Some bullshit like that. That's not an opinion to me. That's just a lie. And should you have the freedom to say that bullshit? No. So, should you have the freedom to say anything that's not wrong? Yes, of course. But things that are verifiably false don't fall under any sort of freedom at all. That's just tyranny. Right? My ability to do whatever I want should be limited by your ability to do whatever you want. Right? Just like how my ability to say whatever I want should be limited by the ability of what is actually fucking true. Ain't that right? You have 126, Curtis. You can gamble if you have 100 or more. If you want to. I don't know. I don't encourage gambling at all. However, the panda points are free and not worth much, so you can do whatever you want. Panda wallpaper. Well, it's not my actual desktop background. This used to be my desktop background, but now I have a different panda as my desktop background. I could show you that if you want. That's not where I want to be. I want to go to data, images, content, background. Done. Transform. Fit to screen. There we go. So that, what you see there is just a stream background. A more lateral shoulder movements and more rows. More rows? Why? So, I hate rows. I genuinely, this is like, I absolutely hate them. You mean like different types of rows or do leg day? No. I hate legs. Because I mean I don't want like to fucking squat 800 kilos. I want to just be able to walk up a mountain without being out of breath. Right? You do the upper part for strength and the lower part for endurance. Especially that lower part. What's the short videos just because I like to push shit on thanks. Finish it off for rows. I like for. It's 4. It's 4 a week. I don't want to do. What else am I? What am I supposed to do more? What kind of rows am I supposed to do more? The last time I did front rows, I did my back in. So I'm not doing those. I mean, it was my own fault, but nah, not doing that. If I harm myself during an exercise, I'm not doing it again. That's my policy on that. But yeah, tell me, what should I add? Also, should I remove anything? Should I remove anything? That's another question. Where do you work out? At home. At home. Because the only gym near me is a freaking CrossFit gym that has like ellipticals and stuff. And not only that, I can walk. Never gonna climb a mountain. I do that regularly, so that's what I'm doing. I mean, I also do the pull-up. Isn't that enough? I do a rows and the pull-ups. Isn't that enough for back? That's already. That is 7 a week. Ain't that enough? What's up here? Do the wide arm rows, focus more on the abs, no back. The neutral grip rows. Pull-ups are for different muscular vitality. Yeah, that's why I can row 45 kilos but can't do a fucking pull-up. Well, I can do 2. 3 if I'm lucky. If 3 if I'm having a good day. If I want good form, that is, of course. Alright. I have no interest in becoming fucking fridge. You know. I gotta like unfuck my wrists though, because that's like the biggest freaking problem. My wrists are useless, genuinely. I can't bend. I can't bend my wrists 90 degrees in either direction. That's fucked up. You know, I mean I can, but the pain is big. So, good night, Lucy. No, this plus very good twice in a week. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do more than 4. Ever. It's gonna be 4. So yeah, I know, but that's not the problem. It's not strength that's the problem, it's the mobility that's the problem. You know, if you can't get your hands flat, like I mean, I'm kind of cheating. I'm kind of cheating because I did my back in last time doing those rows. So I'm doing the ones where you're on the bench and you just do one arm row. So I'm doing that. It's chill. The problem is I'm running out of like it's a massive dumbbell I have, and I'm kind of running out of space on the plates at this point. How much is too much? Because I have. I don't know how much that bar weighs, but I've got 40 kilos on there right now. That's just a mobility problem, but I can't bend my wrists 90 degrees either way. They go like 80 either way, front and back. And if I try to bend them any further, it's excruciating pain. And I've tried stretching, and I don't get better. It just hurts. It just hurts more. So yeah. Am I the only one that is watching for the Blitz tips? Maybe. But I'll be honest, I don't do much Blitz tips anymore at this point. Everything I say now concerning Blitz, I've probably already said. Right? I mean, eventually, like, here's the thing. I have an entire unbuilt basement. I'll put a proper gym in there at some point when I have fuck you money, which I never have, but you know, we'll see. Let's see. Yeah, not really, because if I can keep the wrists straight, they're not a problem at all, right? It just goes forever. But if I have to like bend them 90 degrees, screwed, completely fucked. So it's kind of funny because that, like, I just use like grip around 2 dumbbells lying on the floor, and then I'm fine because I can keep the wrists straight. I can go all the way down on a push-up, and I got like maximum range. So it works. Answer me, do you actually eat that on the daily? Eat what on the daily? What do you mean? All this plus the vertical pulling exercises twice. So what? So tell me, what do I need to do more? What do I need to add? What do I need to what do I remove? Here's the question. If I add something, I gotta remove something. Because I don't want to do more than like 6 at a time. Discord. Mostly average German food. Yes. That is... Yes. That is something Germans do eat. I don't, personally, but yes. That meat's not raw, by the way. That meat's not raw. It's heavily salted and looks that way. Remove Iraq. Why? No. Why would I do that? Yeah, as well. No, I'm not insane. I don't want to die. I'm not trying to turn that into cardio. You know? Lol. But yeah. Anyway, that's something that has nothing to do with Blitz. Started a DIY YouTube channel. No. Looks raw, man. But that's not raw. There is tartar, which is raw, which is not German, but Germans eat it occasionally. But that's raw. But that meat's not raw. It's not. It's just heavily salted and boiled. Pretty much. If you, it's like really, really tender as well. It's like it pretty much just like flows apart in your mouth. That's how good meat is supposed to be. There's nothing worse than dry chicken or hard as a brick beef. So let's see. Can't eat salted meat. You gotta eat your proteins, man. You gotta eat your proteins. All right. But I mean, I'm glad that the plan I have works out, and I'm glad that the thing you told me to add is the one thing I know I'm not doing enough, but I refuse to do more. So we're good. But yeah, I appreciate you all. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you had fun as always, and yeah, see you on Friday hopefully. Till then. As always, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe. Don't die. Goodbye.